Each week at the start of our presentation, I will produce a video that will introduce the presentation and show you all the information and where you can find it. It's important that you watch these video introductions so you know how to navigate our presentation for the week. So we start today with our first slide, and the topic this week for Chapter 1 is what is early childhood education? On our second slide, we can see that early childhood education is defined, and we look at who are early childhood education professionals and their importance. This is a real important symbol for you to look for. If you see this listen and learn video button, it's actually a podcast where I'm going to take the information on the slide and I'm going to share it to you in audio format, and also you're going to hear things that aren't written here. It's an expansion of what I want to share about this topic. So if you see this, it is a YouTube video, but is just audio. So it's a podcast of information. Make sure you click on it. Slide 3, you'll read about NAEYC, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and some basic facts. And then we'll go right into NAEYC's Code of Ethical Conduct. What I'd like you to do is follow the 5 steps listed here. The first one is to go to D2L and look in the Course Basics folder. And in that folder, you will find NAEYC's Code of Ethical Conduct, and you'll print that document out. Then you're going to read the document, and at the same time as you're skimming it, you're going to watch this video right here. So you'll click on the video, and it's going to explain the document to you. This ethical code of conduct is important because basically defines, as a professional in the field of education, what are the ethical conduct that you will embrace and promise. When you've completed the video and the explanation, if you agree, you're going to sign and date the last page where you see Statement of Commitment. That last page you will need to scan or take a picture with your smartphone and Dropbox the signed dated Statement of Commitment to me. This Dropbox is in the Week 1 Dropbox area. You'll find it there. I do not need to see the other pages of the Ethical Code of Conduct. I only need the Statement of Commitment page. Moving on the presentation, we'll look at the ages of learners as defined by NAEYC. And then you'll see that there are 5 main types of early childhood settings. You can read the information here, but again, we see that listen and learn button, so click on it and listen to the podcast explaining these types. On the next slide, slide 7, we're going to look at inclusion. And I want you to read page 8 in the early intervention section of your textbook, and also page 9 under the What Does Inclusion Mean section. Then, after you've done your reading, watch this video. It's a video of a teacher working with students, and some of those students are what we would consider inclusion students. After you've done your reading and watched the video, click here in this green spot that says Sharing Board. That's going to take you into a program called Padlet, and Padlet is going to be our online sharing format for the entire semester. It's basically an online collaboration board, and we will share there often. So click here and you'll just follow the directions when you get into Padlet. After you've done your Padlet activity, we come back to the presentation and we're going to look at some data. We see the expansion of early childhood education all over the place. And so we have a graphic. We also have some factual percentages, but again, there's listen and learn. It's a little bit bigger on this slide. There's our podcast, so listen to the podcast for this slide. On slide 10, I ask you an important question. Why do you want to become an early childhood educator? I want you to stop and think, and then click on the word Padlet board. And again, you're going to visit a new Padlet board and you're going to share why you want to become an early childhood educator. Then I want you to read pages 12 and 13 in your textbook and compare your answer with others in the field. Are you the same? Do you have the same reasons why, or do you have different reasons for becoming an early childhood educator? On slide 11, we're going to talk about something very important, and that's called the intentional teacher. The intentional teacher is something you want to strive to be. So we need to figure out what is it and how do I do it. So on this slide, first, what is intentional teaching? I want you to watch this video right here and take notes on the qualities of an intentional teacher. Then I want you to apply what you've learned. You're going to watch the second video, and using those notes you took, I want you to jot down what intentional teaching qualities you see this teacher doing in her interactions with these little bakers. When you have your list, I want you to click where it says here, and it's going to take you to another Padlet board. And on that Padlet board, you're going to share some of those intentional teaching qualities. Now, if you're a little confused and you need more clarification, check out the list of qualities of an intentional teacher. It is on page 14 of your textbook for more information. You can also look at that list on page 14 as you watch this video, and it may help you determine how she's being intentional in her teaching. Now, as an early childhood educator, you are going to be working with children, and sometimes you'll be working for children. And this slide breaks down what are some of the jobs of people that work with children, and what are some of the jobs for teachers that work for children. And they're slightly different, and as you can see that there are options for you out there in this field, so many of them. Some of those positions will require more education, more specialized training and experience. For more information on both parts of working with children and working for children, look on pages 15 to 17 for more information. On slide 13, we're going to look at how early childhood educations provide quality programs. And we see that they're regulated, and they're regulated in these three areas. And NAEYC has also set standards for early childhood programs. So I want you to read this slide, and I want you to look and read our green circle. And then two things I'd like you to do after you've read the slide. First, click on the link to take you to PA Keys. If you're not familiar with the Keystone Stars program in Pennsylvania, it is our evaluation for quality. And I'd like you to play around on the website and learn more about it. Then I'd like you to read page 20, and on page 20 there's table 1.1, and this will show you the NAEYC standards, the 10 standards that NAEYC sets for early childhood education programs. It is very important that you understand both the NAEYC 10 standards and also the Keystone Stars program if you're going to work in early childhood education in Pennsylvania. So make sure you spend a decent amount of time and really get to know that part of this presentation. Okay, on slide 14, we are just looking at those standards that were aligned in the last slide. How do they measure quality in early childhood education? And there's two kinds of quality: structural quality, you can read about that, and process quality. And then on pages 21 and 22, you can see the observational tools used to measure both of these standards. This is important, especially if you're working in a childcare environment, because you will be rated using these observational tools, so make sure you read about them. Some current trends in early childhood education are aligned on this slide. There's 5 trends, and push the Listen and Learn podcast button and I'll tell you all about them. Becoming an early childhood professional means it's time to start your pre-professional portfolio. And this is one of our projects this semester. It's worth 100 points. What I'd like you to do to begin this journey is go into D2L, go to the project handout section in the project folder, and look at the project, get the handout for the pre-professional portfolio, and then watch this video intro. So together you should be able to figure out your job in creating your pre-professional portfolio. Your last job to do within this presentation is also to go back into D2L, and one of your requirements for this course is to agree to HACC's educational program standards. To be a member of our education department, you must agree to these standards, along with submitting your clearances, your TB test results, and your FBI fingerprints. So the program standards are on D2L, and they are in the Course Basics folder. You're going to go into the Course Basics folder and print out the program standards form. Read the program standards and read them very carefully. You need to then initial the standards that you agree to that are on pages 4 and 5. If you get to a standard and you honestly cannot agree with that standard, I need you to contact me. Don't just say you agree with it, because we will hold you accountable to everything that you initial for this program. You have to be able to do those things. If there's something that you think you're going to struggle with, please contact me and we'll work through this together. When you have initialed all of the standards, I need you to also sign and date page 6. And there's 2 different sections on page 6. There's a section for 110 and 111, and then there's one section below that for when you've completed all of your education courses at HACC. Go to the part that says Education 111, sign it, date it, fill it in, and then I need you to Dropbox to me page 4, page 5, and page 6. You can scan them. You can take a picture with your phone anyway, but they're all fine. In doing that, I will then make sure that you become part of our education department. The Dropbox for this activity is in the Week 1 folder under the Weekly Dropbox section, and it will say HACC Program Standards. If you have any questions about anything in this presentation, we have lots of ways to contact me. First of all, there is a section on D2L that will be introduced to you, or it probably already was, and it's where you can start a discussion thread if you have a question. We have a course Facebook page. You may post on there. At any point, you may email me or you may text me. So there's lots of ways to contact me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I will leave you with your weekly assignments. First of all, make sure that you've joined our class Facebook page and introduced yourself and posted a picture. Then you want to make sure you answer the questions. It is on the course schedule and also on the calendar. Why do I want to become a teacher, and what ages of learners do I want to teach? Save those answers. They're going to be part of your pre-professional portfolio. On D2L, you need to make sure that you do the HACC program standard and the NAEYC code of contact files. Remember, you need to print them out, initial and sign them, and Dropbox them back to me. There are 3 Padlet boards for this presentation. These are your participation points for the week. You will find the Padlet boards on slide 6, slide 9, and slide 10. I will need you to make sure that is completed for your participation this week. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do something that I shouldn't be doing at this moment because I'm recording, but that is incorrect. I added a slide for you, and so right here, slide 7 is a Padlet board. Also, slide 11 and we'll take slide 9 away. I'm sorry for the confusion in that, but this is correct. So slide 7, slide 10, and slide 11. Okay, we had to renumber a little bit, but you did get the correct information there. All right, and last but not least, read chapter 1. You've been in and out of chapter 1 through this presentation, but just read over anything that you missed, and then skim chapter 2 for our next week's presentation. All right, you've made it. Go on into that presentation and take care of your work.